Welcome to the Bites with Ananya. Thank you so much for joining us today on the second episode of Season 2 of Shaping a Fairer World. Today, we're going to talk about sports for kids. Now, because of COVID, I think many of us have gotten anxiety or heart problems because I know I have. So, to talk us through about the importance of sports in every child's life, I invite Abhilasha Singh. She is a national level handball and basketball player. She was selected for India camp in the senior national for handball and represented Uttar Pradesh in the Federation Cup in handball as a captain of the team. She is a silver medalist in judo. She played squash for a while and now she runs marathons and participates in open cycling competitions. So let's introduce her. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Nanya. Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
And I'm good. Thank you.
So could you introduce yourself and tell us how sport has been part of your life?
Definitely. So at present, I am principal of Shining Star International School, Abu Dhabi. And I work in UAE for the last 6 years. I came here in 2015. And coming directly to the question of how sports has shaped my life, I am extremely grateful to my parents, to my mom who pushed me into basketball at the age when I was in grade 6. And in grade 8, I played my first inter-district match. And over the years, the rigor, when I was a student, the rigor was 2 hours in the morning on the field reporting at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8. And then after school, 4 to 6 in the evening. That was my life, the entire student life till the time I was in university. And I know that the skill development, the confidence, the discipline, all those things have helped me become the individual, a successful student, and the individual later on. And Ananya, believe you me, when I, appearing for interviews and when I open that I'm a national player in handball and basketball, the conversation completely changes, and the national certificates have opened doors for me wherever I have gone. So that is the significance of sports in your life and the significance of playing at that level. I'm sure that the due course of the conversation that we have today will be reflecting more upon what sports does for you as a student, for you and a life, and also even after student life as an individual, a game or any one hobby that you take up as a regular part of your life, how it helps you to become a healthy individual.
That's really great. You inspire me in a lot of ways. So I really wanted to know your favorite sport.
My favorite sport, I used to love basketball. At the moment, I love swimming. And I hate cricket. I'm sorry, cricket fans. I don't like cricket at all. For a reason.
Yeah, me too.
I hope I'm allowed to talk about it.
Yeah. Me too.
As a sports person during my college years, during my student life, school life, I have seen that how short of funds we were when we had to travel for nationals, and the kind of resources that were available to us was so limited. Whereas I saw that cricket used to get all the publicity and the investment and everything, and it to break my heart. And I had my colleagues who were playing for India. We all sportsmen, our ultimate aim is to get that color. My dream was to play for India and to get that the tracksuit that you get with the chakra, the Ashoka chakra at the back. I mean, I get goosebumps still when I think about it. I mean, I spoiled my second year graduation result just because I was so hell-bent on making to the India team. And I was to practice like crazy 3 times a day. So my colleagues were struggling to get an airplane ticket. They would get selected for the team, and they had to pay for their own air ticket. And these were skilled individuals who would do for India, who would really bring laurels to India. And then we had cricket on the side. They were getting so much limelight, so many, investment, and they were getting paid for all that. And then we were the lesser known individuals, and where the games do not get that kind of spotlight. So I don't like cricket for that reason. I'm sorry.
I totally agree with you. I really do. My brother's gonna be mad though. He loves cricket. He loves it a lot.
It's a good sport, but all my apologies.
He has like a cricket bat whenever he's watching a match. So if a player hits a ball, he'll hit it too. Okay. Let's jump back in. So I had another question. So how important are sports for the growth of kids?
Very good question, Ananya. And, this is something that we really need to think about, and especially parents, schools together. Mm-hmm. Sports helps to shape the mental strength of students. Because when you invest yourself, your time and energy, your physical capabilities on the field, it is the mind and the health. What do we? There's a saying, a sound mind and a healthy body, and a healthy body in a sound mind. And also, I would quote my favorite quote over here, which I have learned in the school that I was teaching in India, in Pine Grove School. And what we believe over there is that the Battle of Waterloo was won on the playing field of Eton.
That's great. Yeah.
And this statement itself speaks volumes about what sports does for individuals. It helps you to aid. Discipline is something that is a very inherent, integral part of sports, to be able to report on time. Mm-hmm. And then with the dedicated mind and discipline to invest yourself into that physical rigor that is expected of all sportsmen. And while you're training, while you're undergoing that training, you need that mental strength to keep going. As a marathon runner, I know that the idea is the entire challenge is to cross the finish line, not to give in between. So that grit and that determination and that resilience that the children learn while they practice sport or they invest themselves in sports. Skill building, life skill building, that the students again develop, and they build while they are on the field, and especially during matches, the decision making, crisis management, quick thinking, and this entire thing about not giving up, playing teamwork. This is one of the best and one of the strongest skills that an individual learns is teamwork. That how to, as together, you're not playing for individual self, you're playing for the team. Yeah. So these are the kind of benefits that students, an individual gets or experiences and develops when being part of a sport or a game or a team.
I know, yeah. So talking about sports makes me really want to go to playing squash again right now. Like I can go, I want to go. So, but I really love talking about sports too. So
me too.
Going into academics a little bit, I feel like it's hard for people to maintain academics and sports together. So how to maintain a balance between academics and sports?
Ananya, again, a very good question, because this is something that children struggle with. I've seen students struggling with, and also parents not wanting to invest in their children in that balance of curricular and co-curricular. It's not even extracurricular anymore. It is a blend of both, because that's what the holistic education we believe in providing to the students and to the learners in school. So there has to be a balance of both, not one at the cost of other. Being a sportsman and right from grade 8, when I have participated in, I've played for the school teams right from grade 8. So I know that, yes, it is difficult, but then it is not impossible. So we have to keep track of ourselves, the idea is not to procrastinate work that needs to be done. that the day it has to be done that day. And I know it is tiring coming back from the field, and then sitting down to do your homework and putting your practical files. I'm talking from experience. I used to doze in the classes. Like imagine 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 to 8 you're on the field, and it's endurance building in the morning. So it's really, really tough. And then going to the classes, and I remember I was in my graduation physical science, physical chemistry class, and literally I was dozing, but the teachers would again give me a little leeway because they knew that I was paying for the school. But then I never ever sort of used sports or my time out on the field as an excuse not to do the work. So this is something that the children will need to learn, is to strike a balance, not one at the cost of other. Keep yourself up to date. If you're missing a class, go to the teacher, reach out to the teacher and ask the teacher for time to help, so that the teacher can help you understand the concepts. Ask your friends for what was missed during the day, and then take out time. Create a dedicated time in your timetable where you then cover those portions.
Yeah.
And also, Ananya, it is like science has proven that students who are good in sports have better cognitive skills. It's just that it is considered as a like sort of a thought or an understanding amongst teachers that the children who go for sports are not good in studies. I mean, it is taken as a granted in India, but it is not like that. In fact, it is just because of the time gap that the children may not be able to cover. But given the chance, they are very skilled at what they do in the sports, and that requires cognitive ability. So therefore, the same can be applied in the classes. Just the children require support from the teachers. The biggest fallout with the sportsmen is that the schools don't support, the teachers don't support, the teachers don't support. And what happens is that if the child is missing, and it is again considered like it's a given consideration that science students should not play sports. Science students should not be part of any team because there's so much to study. I mean, why? So in that manner, if the child is missing a class, the teachers really get after the kids. I've seen that in my life. I've seen that in as a teacher, and I've taken my students for Model U, and I've taken my students for other competitions. So I know when they miss classes, the teachers really get after them, and they don't like it that they're doing extracurricular, they're co-curricular. So that has to go. That idea really should not. The children should not suffer because of that. And parents and teachers both have to support the students who are good in sports, because it actually is a skill. Everybody is not good at everything. So if you're good at sport, it's a skill that you have, and schools should support the children becoming better at it.
Yeah, I agree with you. So talking about like procrastinating and the qualities, what qualities in children do you think can help children be successful in sports?
The biggest quality any individual can have to become successful in anything that you do, not just in sports, is dedication, is commitment, is discipline. So, and more so in sports, it's more, required with more dedication, and more commitment is required because it is physical labor. Nobody likes to wake up 3:50 or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock early in the morning when the rest of the household is asleep, especially in winters where you really think of, a little 5 more minutes of sleep is like, it's so delicious and it's a luxury. So to be able to leave the comfort of your house to then do that physical labor on the field where your coach makes you run 10 laps and then makes you do all these abominable exercises, which really gets happiness out of you. So a person requires dedication and commitment for that. So that's the discipline all successful sportsmen have. Because you cannot be a good sportsman and a successful sportsman if you do not have that discipline of committing to the sport and then going through the rigor of that physical labor, where it's really uncomfortable to run and pant, and your body aches, but then because it's the mental strength and you're dedicated to your sport, that's where then you become successful.
Yeah, I'm really experiencing the 5 minutes more thing because I always snooze my alarm. I don't want to get up.
And Ananya, when we were in school and college, and I have played on, I have studied on school sports scholarship. So it was, we had to, it was expected of us, and it was required to be on the field at 6 in the morning. So we used to sleep in our kit so that you could save even that 5 minutes of time in the morning. So we used to sleep in our kit, and shoes and socks right next to wake up in the morning and run quickly after like getting fresh in the morning. I mean, I know how it is, how difficult it is in winters. I have experienced it. And if you don't report on time, then the coach gets very upset. And then you have to do a lap more than the others. Oh my God, you've been through that too.
I know.
I'm sure.
I've experienced everything. I used to wake up at 5 in the morning to play squash, and I always snooze my alarm. So
I know.
yeah, so let's face it, no one wants to lose. So like, how can you work on the anxiety while playing a game? Because I play squash and I get anxiety all the time. So how do you work on that?
I know, and this is again one of the beautiful things about sports or a competition is that it also helps an individual to accept defeat gracefully, learn to lose gracefully, and then come back, bounce back next time, resolving that you will do better and you will win. But also to understand, Ananya, that winning and losing are part of the same coin, and we know that somebody will win, and it doesn't put you any lesser than anybody else. It's just that person is a little more skilled, or it could be a day also, it could be just a bad day for you, because by the time you reach that position where you're representing school, you already are good.
Yeah.
And so number one is to accept defeat gracefully when you lose. But at the same time, while you're playing, I think a few mental exercises, deep breathing, counting, and then also understanding that not to be too hard on yourself, and to accept that, okay, you give your best shot, whatever rest it is God's will. And also, whenever I enter a field, whenever I used to enter the field, I always used to tell myself, let the best team win. So with that thought, you just give your best.
Yeah.
And not worry about the consequences, because you worked very hard to reach that level. You worked very hard to enter that competition. And after that, it is just one skilled person against the other. So while even if I say you're losing, you've lost one set, or you've lost a few balls, you don't get you don't feel nervous. Instead, give time to yourself, get into a corner, deep breathing, and telling you can do it. So many times I have seen that individuals or teams or team players, if they lose, say in basketball, I remember one game that we had, we all started fighting with each other. We started losing our temper on each other, and that did not help the team. What was required was to take a timeout, sit quietly, re-strategize. Okay, what are we doing? What is not working?
Yeah.
What is it that the other team has? Okay, you spot the players who are the tough ones. So then you strategize about if you need to do a man-to-man check with that particular player, or how we ourselves change our game plan, and what we had decided as a move, we change those. So that is about teamwork. That is about team working together cohesively. And for individuals, the same thing again. Time out, deep breathing, thinking everything is going to be all right. It's just one shot I have lost. Not to get nervous, but to talk to yourself and also visualize. I have done this visualizing exercises a lot when I was in graduation, and I was playing handball. And I used to really visualize that, okay, and coming back in the evening, I used to visualize that, okay, that move did not work. What could I have done? And just by visualization, I have improved my game. So similarly, like that time also, you say, okay, that ball I hit in the wrong manner. I think that was a wrong a wrong move, or like, I could have taken my hand on the other slide. So things like that. I hope I'm being helpful.
Yeah,
But these are something
definitely.
that I have
Learning a
learned with
lot.
experience. But timeout is one thing that, like, timeout and thinking and deep breathing, and not being nervous about it, not making, because when you get angry and nervous, then you end up making more mistakes.
Yeah.
So just need to calm down and cool down a little, and then go with a little lazy moves, not sort of aggressively fighting and then again losing or making mistakes.
Yeah. So never give up.
Never give up. Never give up. Never give in.
Yeah. So I feel like half of the anxiety is because, like, for kids, is because of the parents' pressure. Like,
Performance anxiety, yes.
they just expect you to win, and we don't want to let them down. So it's part of the anxiety, I think. Yeah.
I think, Ananya, like, because like, you are an individual game sports player,
Mhm.
and I am a team sport player. So I think that's where a little difference is there, because I've not experienced uh, how you feel as a in an individual game. Because I've done athletics. I was a 100-meter sprinter, but I was not very successful at it. I'm not a very good sprinter, not a very fast runner. That's why I run marathons. I'm a very slow runner. And but in when you're in a team, a lot of pressure is taken away because it's teamwork. But I suppose when you're in an individual game, there's a lot of pressure on the person, because it's all you. It's just your skill and your hard work, and it's being tested at that day. So you're very right that half of the time most of the time it is about proving yourself, meeting the expectations your school has, your parents have, any other organization you're playing for. So that can be a lot of pressure. But I think at that time, if you just leave everything aside and you just be yourself, Wonder Ananya playing,
Yeah.
definitely be wonderful.
I agree. Yeah. So I just remembered a quote. We have been like saying this quote from generation to generation. It's like, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So my question is, how do sports influence mental health?
We were just talking about never give in, right?
Yeah.
So that's what sports does for you. It gives you that mental strength. It helps you to build grit, resilience. It helps you to become more determined in your work. And I have seen, like I said earlier, and the favorite quote that I said about the Battle of Waterloo was won on the playing fields of Eton.
Yeah.
That's the skill building that the sports field provides. So especially decision making, crisis management, right there, independent. Like, for say, if you're a captain of a team, then you have to take those decisions independently for your team, for the benefit of your team.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if you're an individual, you're a single sole ranger, sole player, then you have to take those decisions without the help of others, because it's your minute to minute decision that will be a deal breaker in the game. So these kind of qualities, these skills that students, a sports person experiences, develops, builds, strengthens, is empowering for an individual to become a successful person in life. Because the same thing, the decision making, the decision that the sports person had to take on the field, it's fraction of seconds that can make a difference, and that skill then is helpful later on in your professional life when you're in a board meeting, and these decisions have to be taken. That's where those skills help you, because you have experienced that over a period of time, over years. So you become really good at it, and you become confident, because you know that these are how you take informed decisions. So that mental strength, the best, this is something that I encourage my students also to become, to play any one sport, pick up a game, is because it helps helps students to gain perspective over life, have a sublimation separate from academics, have a space where they can enjoy and they can be themselves. At the same time, at that quality time, build skills which are life skills. So uh, one of the best things that I like is the mental strength that it helps you gain, develop. And then, of course, the all other bits about discipline and the commitment that one gives to the game. So I have also seen students who are forever in their books. They are very good in academics, but you take those books away from them and they find themselves lost.
Yeah.
They are not able to manage themselves without the armor of academics. Mm-hmm. And academics is a very small slice of the 360-degree circle of school life or student life. So the rest of the learning takes place outside the classroom, and sporting field is a very big learning environment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think many people like say that the sports is just a hobby for them. But so my question is like, can sports be a career?
Definitely, Ananya. Like in India now, sports science is emerging as a very big career field.
Yeah.
To be able to see, we'll need to sort of analyze this in a little more, like detailed discussion, because it is not just about any individual making sports a career. It depends on country to country as well. In India, we know that if you're not a cricket player or a tennis player, rest all the sporting careers are not recognized.
Yeah.
So you could, like, I have friends who played nationals and who played for India, are now working for either railways, or they may have used their certificates to gain a little bit of leverage into the companies that they have joined, or these certificates help them to get into good universities, and then they were able to get the degree or qualification that they wanted. But a lot of them have not been successful, have not made a successful career of their sports. Why? Because of the way our country focuses on sports.
Yeah.
It's either cricket or it is tennis. Otherwise, basketball, other games. You've not heard a lot of our team, like India team players, anyone making that as either playing professionally or even as amateur, or well, playing professionally, making a career out of their games. Whereas in other countries like in US and Canada, you've got NBA, you've got these organizations which pay you to play. They are professional players in those other games. So that in that manner, I think in India, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to open people's mind about making sports a career. For that, again, there's a lot of work that needs to go into accepting that what all, how a sportsman from hobby can turn that into a professional life. But then again, the life of a sportsman is very limited, because it's only till the age of 36 that you can show peak performance, and after that, as the body ages, your performance also goes down. So there have to be alternatives, alternate career options that the sportsman has to invest in. Having said that, there are other areas of sports which are now coming up in a big way, like sports management, sports science, and there are other individuals who are personal consultants. Like, say you can take certification as a personal trainer because of your fitness level, and then you turn that into a career for yourself. So I mean, these are the few options that come to my mind at the moment.
Yeah.
But it is a tough call.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the key points is gender, because like I play squash, right? So some people might know squash, but they will assume it's a boys' game. So that's one thing that India does, which is like you have to accept that girls can also play. many sports.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of discrimination amongst the India teams as well. Like the amount of limelight the boys teams get, hockey and even cricket. The girls teams don't get, women's team don't get that kind of limelight. And also the welcome back at the airport. We have our girls hockey team, I think, and the cricket team also who did very well, but nobody was there to receive them back when they came back with the trophy.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the year when it was, but yeah, it is sad.
Yeah. So then
and a lot of our sports, a lot of our Olympians, imagine, Ananya, I mean, it's really sad. Many of our Olympians, they die very poor, literally, like, in sheer poverty. And some of them have to have, I mean, we've heard of cases where our Olympians have to sell their gold medals to just make a living. I mean, how sad is that?
Yeah.
So that puts a spotlight on the importance of sports in our country.
Yeah. So another question I had is, what place does sports have while defining the school curriculum?
Very good question. And this is I am very proud of what we have done in our school, because it is not just like, the our experiences, like you've studied in India as well. Mm-hmm. I am a product of Indian education system completely. And for a PE period, we just had one PE period a week. Now CBSE has made 2 PE periods in a week. And what the children do is they'll just go and play something, and the coach will give them a ball and you go practice, or you just go play basketball. So that it is a fun period. It is a period. It is that period or that time in the timetable where the children relax and the pressure of academics is taken away from them. But if it is not structured, it is just a time pass. So the children are actually not learning anything. They are just relaxing. Yeah. So it's a good thing. We need that as well. But then for PE to be it is a subject. It is an important part of curriculum. So it needs to have a very structured curriculum. It needs to have a structured long-term and a medium-term plan where where the children, they learn a skill. So it is up to the schools to decide that the children in their lifetime in the school should be able to have expertise in at least 2 games.
Yeah.
So when they go out for PE, then there is a lesson plan where the teacher has planned what the students are going to do. And this is from across the school, right from grade 1 to grade 12. KG, of course, has its own curriculum of PE where the children learn about balance and, they walking and gaining balance and gross motor skills. But from grade 1 onwards, it starts like, say, grade 1 and 2. It is a little more fun play, but then it is still play. But then grade 3, grade 4 onwards, it starts with skill building. The children should adopt according to their interest. The school needs to identify what games these children will need to be pushed into.
Yeah.
Or not pushed, like nudged into. And then that's how the school teams build up. So there has to be a very structured curriculum, and the leadership at the school has to understand the importance of that curriculum. It all starts from there. So it's not just a period where, okay, it's PE, okay, yeah, like, it's sports period, but it needs to be graded. Till the time the children don't understand that they will be graded on this, mm-hmm, till that time the seriousness of that work will not come.
Yeah, I know. I've experienced everything. I know when it comes to marks, I have to give my best. So yeah, I totally agree. But last but not least, would you like to give any message to kids?
As a sports person, from one sports person to the other, and to the rest of you, children, adopt, like, you need to have a sublimation in your life. So a sublimation apart from, away from your academics. It's very important that you have a space where you are able to find something that you like doing. So studies, academics is a very important part of, significant part of the school. And it will always be there because that's what schools are for. There'll always be syllabus, and syllabus will be covered. Day in and day out, you will come to the school, you will attend classes, and you'll go back home. So I call that being passengers. You're just boarding the bus, coming to school, going through the rut of the school life, and going back. What is different? What is it, and how are you different from the others? What have you thought about yourself? So you need to understand, like I love what Ms. Jane Goodall says, that we all must do something in life, but we have to then we have to understand and see what we want to do and what we have to do. So that significant thing that you need to do in life for yourself and for the others is important. And pick up a sport, any game that you like, and commit yourself to it.
Yeah.
Play it to the highest level, where you yourself will understand that when you give time to yourself, that time is your time. It is me time, and you will love it because you yourself will understand that what all gains are there, how enjoyable it is to be there on the field, going through that not the stress in that wrong manner, but the excitement of playing against, competing against an opponent, and strategizing, and then teamwork together to win over that opponent. All those are heady feelings. Once the game is over, you see the adrenaline rush, and that has to be experienced to be able to speak about it. I have, Ananya, I have traveled a lot. I have traveled the length and breadth of my country because of sports. I'm very thankful to my mother, who has supported both my parents, but I know that my mother really pushed me into sports. And I'll share this with you. I was in grade 10. When I was in grade 10 and in grade 12, just a month before the board exams, I went for my nationals. So grade 10, school nationals, grade 12, school nationals. I mean, my parents must have had a very big heart to send me, because I know the boards and parents are like, shut yourself in a room, bury yourself in the books and don't come out until the exams are over. So, I'm from UP board, state board is one of the toughest boards in the country. So if my parents could do that for me, I'm sure all other parents can also do. And I'm sure these students themselves also can support themselves. Same thing happened in my post-graduation also. I was the only science student in my college. And when I was doing my MSc first year, the Federation Cup matches were there, and I was literally crying because I would miss it, because my exams fell in between. But divine providence, the one paper got postponed for 22 days. And I just looked at my father, and my father said, okay, go. And I went, and we represented. And Federation Cup is important because top 8 teams in the senior nationals go for Federation Cup. So it is like the ultimate before playing for India.
Yeah.
So being in science, being a science student, I have played at the highest level. And so I know that it is not impossible. You just need to dedicate time. So you need to have that understanding, and you have to give yourself to committing to both studies and to the sports that you love. And strike a balance and see, rest is history. I mean, later on, you'll realize how helpful it has been for you to be on the field and what all you have gained. So play a sport, pick up a sport and play, and commit yourself to the discipline of playing that sport.
Definitely, yeah. I'm saying this again because you inspire me a lot. Like the time.
Likewise, Ananya, I'm amazed by what you do. I mean, really, really.
Thank you so much. But unfortunately, this podcast is coming to an end. So I was talking about this before the podcast also. I was saying that the time is going to fly like anything. And it actually did. Because for me, it flies even faster when I'm with my great mentor, you, Abhilasha ma'am. So to sum up today, we learned about sports bites with our guest Abhilasha Singh. Hope you enjoyed and got inspired to play and participate in more sports. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ananya. It's my honor to be here. Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time. Adios, amigos.